Well, hello, I'm Deborah with Deborah Bucher Designs, and thanks for tuning in. One of the first things I wanted to show you guys today is I finished this sign that I was working on the other day, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. You can see that it's a three-dimensional piece. And so one of the things that I did was took one of these pumpkins from Dollar Tree and just cut it in half and painted it and put it on that board. And just so you know, those boards, or the stencils for those boards, if you've got a board laying around in your garage, or if you want to go to the Home Depot and pick one up, I can make that stencil in any dimension that you need. And it was super fun and super easy to do, and I think it's just as cute as can be. And I'm going to get a hanger to put on the back of it, and I'm going to take it over to the brass armadillo this week. Wanted to show you. And then there's just, you know, I love to go thrift store shopping, to the Goodwill, to any of the thrift stores, to the dollar stores. There's just always things that you can pick up. And I just always have ideas of what to do with it. So this is one of those things that I picked up this week, and I think it's super cute. I don't care for any of this on here, but this is a board, and it has this really pretty copper wire basket on it. So I'm going to repaint this, and I'm probably going to put some kind of a stencil design on it. It's already got the hook on the back, and so I can fix this up super cute, put it in my booth, and sell it for a few extra bucks. Another thing that I'm working on is this cute little basket that I picked up at the thrift store. And I just love the shape of the basket, the design of it a little better. And I'm going to take this bow off of the front of it, and then I've got some really cool wooden flowers. These are all made out of wood, and they're handmade. And I can give you the link if anybody's interested in them. And you hand paint them or dye them. And you can use your Dixie Belle Paints to do that and make them any color that you want. So I thought this basket, if I take this old dirty flower off of it and do 2 or 3, probably 3 of these, and tuck some leaves in it and put it on this basket, that would be a really cute makeover. And you know, I've got some leaves that I picked up. I've got some of these from the Dollar Tree, and I've got some of these from Home Depot, or from Hobby Lobby. So there's just all kinds of cool things that you can do. One of the first things we're going to do is some decoupage. And I'm going to plug in my little iron and let it be warming up. This little pumpkin up at the Dollar Tree. And I thought he would be really cute to decoupage. So we're going to do a little project this afternoon that's decoupaging the back of this. And we're going to use this napkin that I picked up at Hobby Lobby, and that's going to be our decoupage, and when it's all done, it'll be in the shape of that little pumpkin. Then for your Halloween decorating, you can either have it on this side, or you can have it on this side. The other thing that I wanted to show you guys how to do today is, that's probably going to be okay. I took one of those orange pumpkins and I painted it in vintage duck egg, and I'm going to antique it using Van Dyke brown glaze. And then I did another one in the antebellum blue, and I'm going to do some in the sawmill gravy and some drop cloth. I just think they make a really nice collage of colors that they're still fall colors, but not your typical traditional orange colors. And so I'll show you how to do that, and it's super easy and super cheap. These are $1 a piece over there at the Dollar Tree. Starting on this cute little pumpkin project, these napkins come from, I got them at Hobby Lobby because I'm always looking around for napkins. So, and they were 40% off. And I love the colors and the pattern on them. And, you know, I've got napkins for Christmas time, Easter time. Napkins just make great tissues for decoupaging. And speaking of decoupaging, I'm really happy to announce that I have been accepted as a retailer for Roy Cycled tissues, and I put in my order and it should be coming soon, so I'm really super excited about that. Okay, so on these napkins, this particular napkin was a 3-ply, and I already pulled one layer off of it, and I'm going to pull the last layer off of it. I got it started and left it so I could show you. It's important to pull these layers off because you only want to decoupage one portion of it. And you can just throw that away. I think I'll take my little iron and get the wrinkles out of it. This is a little craft iron. The best place to get these little craft irons, I call it my little Barbie iron, but the best place to get these is at Hobby Lobby. I usually have to ask somebody where to find them because they have them kind of in a odd section. And it's always best to watch for when they put them on sale, which is, you know, Hobby Lobby puts everything on sale every 2 weeks, or use your 40% off coupon. Okay, and so now I'm going to just lay this down flat over the top of that little pumpkin. And make sure that we have it straight and that I don't have it on here crooked. I think that looks good. And then before I started the video, I put 2 coats of Dixie Belle clear satin top coat. And you can use any top coat that you have for decoupaging. So if you've got gator hide handy, or if you've got clear coat flat or clear coat gloss, it doesn't matter, they all work the same, and I love using these for decoupage. I'll never use Mod Podge again. Okay, so I have 2 coats of that already on here. And if this tissue was a light color, say a white or a cream color, and I didn't want this dark board to show through, I would top coat this board in a color that would be the same color as the background of the tissue. But the board doesn't show through with the colors that are in this napkin, so I didn't bother. So it has 2 coats of the top coat on it. And then when you go to iron on your tissue, you need to have a piece of parchment paper. And another little good tip about your parchment paper, if you bake a lot, you probably have some handy, but if you aren't a baker, you can get parchment paper at the dollar store. And that's where I pick it up all the time for my classes. And so I'm using my little craft iron here, and I'm just ironing that decoupage, that napkin on here. And what's happening is the heat from this little iron is reactivating the top coat that I already put on there. And it is causing, that reactivation is causing this napkin to adhere to our little board. Let's see how we're doing here. You can see, I don't know if you can see on the camera here, but it is reactivating that. And these little irons, you know, they look like toy irons, but they're real irons. They're craft irons. And so you want to be careful that you don't burn yourself, and you sure don't want to let little children use these. I mean, if I was a little girl, I would think this was so much fun because it looks like a little Barbie iron, but it's still hot enough. You're not going to get a serious burn, but you're going to get an ouch. So I'm just looking here to see if I have all the little wrinkles ironed out of it. Okay, so I have a little bit of a wrinkle here I still want to get out. And then I'll show you what the next step is. And would you be surprised to know that we are almost done with this? You can use, if you don't want to get one of these little craft irons, you can use your regular iron. You just need to be really careful that there is no water in it and that the steam is turned off, because you don't want to have any steam activated on here. By the time you get your discount on them, I think they're about between $6 and $8. Okay, so the next step is I'm just going to take one of these sanders, and you can use any sander. I think it's 220 grit. I'm going to try the sander block. And so what you do is you just use it with a downward motion like this. And it scores it and cuts it off perfectly aligned to your design. So, you know, it wasn't necessary to have to trace it around, which is kind of cool. See how easy this is to get a nice clean edge? Just take your sander and give it a sanding. Almost done here. There we go. How easy was that? So now we have this cute little pumpkin, and it already had a hanger on it, but I can always change that hanger. And I'll show you what else I'm going to do with it. I'm not going to do it today, but I'm going to show you. So I have all of these cute fall ribbons and burlap ribbon. This one I wouldn't put on here, but if you were using a different color napkin, or I have napkins that are this black and white checker, buffalo check I guess is what they call it. And I could change out the little hanger on it and put some burlap on it. And you know, if I wanted to, these little flowers came from the dollar store. So you just cut them off and trim them and wrap them up on a bow and put them on here. Would be super cute. Or those wooden flowers that I showed you earlier would be really cute and painted on there. So look at all the choices that you can do for $1 a piece from the dollar store. And those would make really cute gifts if you were going to a party or something. You could take a bottle of wine and a cute little pumpkin. What a fun gift to receive from somebody. I'll get him all decorated up and I'll post him up on the Facebook page, and you can see later how cute he turned out. So now I'm going to show you how to antique. And you know, this is a skill that is completely transferable to your furniture. Like that chest of drawers that I put on there, that was actually waxed, but my kitchen cabinet or my bathroom cabinets were done in this vintage duck egg. I antiqued them or glazed them. This is called a glaze. Those cabinet doors, and they've been done for a couple of months now, and I still just love them. And I'm so glad that I decided to do that to my bathroom cabinets. Completely changed the bathroom, and it makes me happy every day when I look at it. So I like to wax and I like to glaze. And sometimes you can get the same effect doing one or the other. It just depends on what kind of look that you're looking for. Some people are intimidated by it, but it's truly very, very easy to do. You just dip down into the paint or the glaze and just paint it on. I'm going to give that a quick little stir. And you always work in sections. Whether you're glazing or waxing, you always work in sections. That way you always have control and it hasn't like stuck on yet. I'm just putting this on, and I don't know if you can see, but there's like texture in there from the styrofoam on the pumpkin. And I want to keep that texture, and I want this glaze to stay down in that texture. And then I'm using a baby wipe, and I'm just going to gently wipe it off. I'm going to I want to leave it down in that texture, and I want to leave it more in the grooves on the pumpkin. And you can take off as much as you want or leave on as much as you want. It's completely your choice. And see, if I just wipe down the center, kind of leaves that highlighted and leaves the rest of it dark. And so we want to do this over the whole piece. You guys see how cool that looks? I just realized you might not have been in camera range, so I'll make sure I keep you over there. Okay. So you might want to check out the Goodwill store close to you and see if you can pick up some pumpkins there, but it's hard to beat $1 a piece at the dollar store. Okay, I'm just doing a section at a time, and then when I wipe off, I'm leaving it down in the grooves of the pumpkin, and I've made sure that I've gotten this wiped into all the detail. And I'm using a baby wipe. And like I said, this was the same technique I used on my bathroom cabinets. I painted them this vintage duck egg, and then I glazed them with this Van Dyke brown glaze, which glazes come in all different colors. You could do this with a wash. You could just take the color and water it down real thin, and you could do the same thing with a wash. The glazes are just a little bit easier to work with, so if you haven't used them before, that's a nice thing to start out with. A little bit of glaze goes a long ways. I did all of my bathroom cabinets and many other projects with this one little jar of glaze. It goes a long ways. And so again, I'm just wiping off. And I want to take more off on the top of those ridges. Those would be the highlights, and your low lights are down in the crevices. And depending on what you want to do with these, they would be really cute in a basket with the different colors in them and a big ribbon on the basket. In my front room, I have a galvanized, one of those 3 or 4 tiered galvanized trays, you know, that are multi-levels going up, and I have them different colors. And then I also added some of the succulents, and you can get the succulents at the dollar store too, which is so cheap. They're so expensive at Michael's and at Hobby Lobby, and to get them for $1 a piece at the dollar store is just amazing to me. The succulents look so cool with the fall colors with the pumpkins. So that's just an idea. Or you could take a little bundle of those flowers that I showed you that I got at the Dollar Tree also, and just hot glue some little flowers on the top of it, tie a little ribbon around it. I think it's a really cool little fall decoration for little money, little effort, but with high impact. Just get the bottom down here. Okay.